Brothers, the Bible shows us there's two types of wisdom. Yes, there's two. Wisdom is not just one thing, there's two types. Now, if you go to James 3, and I'm reading from verse 17 right now, this is what heavenly wisdom looks like. And it says, "But the wisdom that comes from heaven is first of all pure, then peace loving, considerate, submissive, full of mercy and good fruit, impartial and sincere." So that's what heavenly wisdom looks like. Now, if I go further back and I go from verse 14, it says, "But if you harbor bitter envy and selfish ambition in your hearts, do not boast about it or deny the truth. Such wisdom does not come down from heaven, but is earthly, unspiritual, demonic." So, from both verses, we've gathered that heavenly wisdom is first of all pure, then peace loving, considerate, submissive, full of mercy and good fruit, impartial and sincere. And then earthly wisdom is bitter envy and selfish ambition in our hearts, and it says not to boast about it or deny the truth. So now that we have both of these, you're probably thinking, what's an example of this that's used in the Bible? Now, an example of heavenly wisdom would be the story of Solomon, where you had to decipher who was the actual mother of the baby. So if you don't know this story, Solomon was king. He asked God for wisdom. The first kind of test of wisdom that he had, even there, unpack that quickly. The wisdom he got was from God. That's why he was able to even do that in the first place. Cool. Just wanted to say that. But okay, cool. So the story was, there was Solomon. There was two mothers. One of them, her child had died, and then she tried to claim somebody else's child as her own. Now Solomon's and in the moment, I don't know how on earth he thought of this, but his decision to, that he came to was, okay, let's just cut the baby in half. Each mother gets each half of the child. Now, we know that doesn't really work. The child would die. Now, the woman that cried and said, no, 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 the other woman can have the child, he realized that was the actual mother. How? Because a mother would never, ever want her child to suffer. The other woman couldn't care less. Yeah, so he said, no, 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 you're not the mum. You're the mum. So the last example was heavenly wisdom. Now we go to earthly wisdom. Now, if you go to Luke chapter 15, and I'm reading from verse 28, this is the story, or the parable of the lost son. So now he's come back, but we're looking at what the elder brother felt. Now you have to remember, earthly wisdom is bitter envy and selfish ambition. So remember that. Cool. So I'm reading from verse 28. It says, "The elder brother became angry and refused to go in. So his father went out and pleaded with him. But he answered his father, 'Look, all these years I've been slaving for you and never disobeyed your orders. Yet you never gave me even a young goat so I could celebrate with my friends.'" For context, the younger son or younger brother came back. The father got the fattest, the juiciest one, and came and killed it so that they could have a feast. And now the older son is saying, you've never even given me a young one, but you've given the guy who's been out here squandering his money on all these women, doing nonsense, squandering his wealth. What, we're doing a feast for him? He was furious. And then the father said, "My son," actually no, before I get to that point. So there we see from the older brother, it's earthly wisdom, because he's thinking, how on earth is my dad about to celebrate this little foolish youth that squandered all his wealth, and you're going to give him a fattened calf, and I've been here slaving for you, and you've not done anything for me. Now, that's earthly wisdom. Again, bitter envy and selfish ambition. But listen to what the father says, because the father actually shows heavenly wisdom in his reply. So he says, "My son," the father said, "you are always with me and everything I have is yours. But we have to celebrate and be glad because this brother of yours was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found." So his father is showing him that, son, you are already here. Everything I have is already yours. But your younger brother, he was dead. He went and was doing foolishness. But we have to celebrate the fact that he is now alive just like you. So do you see the difference between earthly wisdom and heavenly wisdom? I just found it so interesting because I didn't know there was two differences. But yeah, that's the two differences between earthly wisdom, heavenly wisdom.